So, Manchester United are exploring new options for their stadium, whether to redevelop Old Trafford into something akin to what they're doing with the Santiago Bernabeu and also the Camp Nou over in Spain is a big debate. Whether that's the right thing to do or to build a completely new stadium like we've seen with the likes of Manchester City, Tottenham Hotspur, Arsenal all in England, and of course the likes of Bayern Munich over in Germany. It's a big debate, and it's a big thing about, well, should they actually honour the history of Old Trafford by keeping it there, or would that integrity still be there at a new Old Trafford? I don't know what they'd actually call it, to be honest with you. It's a bit of a strange one, really. Old Trafford, of course, is the area where the stadium is, rather than just the name of the stadium. There's also a cricket ground as well called Old Trafford, so would it be the new Old Trafford? Would it just be Trafford? I don't know. That's a problem for the new stadium. Let's be honest here, though, it'd probably be named after some sort of corporate sponsor, but then again, I'm a bit of a cynic, but I'm also a realist as well, because it's also known as the Spotify Camp Nou, now over with FC Barcelona. But anyway, we've had some new information when it comes to this. There's an interesting report here on the BBC that I want to read out to you guys when it comes to Old Trafford and the potential of a huge boost to the local area. Of course, the UK is not going through the best of times, and even in a relatively prosperous city such as Manchester, there's a lot of problems there. But this report here by the BBC shows that a new Manchester United stadium could bring a £7 billion boost to the local economy. So let's have a look at this, guys, and I'll give my take as well as to whether I think Manchester United will go with a new stadium or to redevelop the old one, and whether they should do, because those are two different questions with potentially two different answers in my opinion. But let's have a look here. So shout out to Ewan Gorn over on the BBC News Manchester division. Let's have a look at this. Replacing Old Trafford with a new 100,000-seater stadium, Manchester United Stadium, and regenerating the surrounding area could bring up to £7 billion to the United Kingdom's economy, it has been claimed. A task force chaired by Lord Sebastian Coe, looking into options for either a new or redeveloped stadium, has released the figures as part of a feasibility study. For those that don't know Seb Coe, basically one of the best Olympians we've ever produced in the United Kingdom, and someone who always champions sport, and I think probably as well one of the lead people behind getting the Summer Olympics in 2012 to London. I'd be surprised if he wasn't involved in some capacity. It found the option to renovate Old Trafford could see its capacity increase to around 87,000, with the club set to decide on its preferred approach by the summer. For reference, now 87,000 would put it comfortably still as the largest capacity for any football stadium in England that is actually assigned to a club. The one exception to that would be Wembley, which is 90,000, even then only just. And again, for reference, at the moment, Old Trafford has a capacity of around 75,000, so it would be an increase of around 12,000 there. Lord Coe said the plans would act as a catalyst for one of the biggest regeneration projects ever undertaken in the UK. The report outlining the options have been submitted to Manchester United, Greater Manchester Combined Authority and Trafford Borough Council. Initial findings in the report suggest a new ground would lead to an extra 7.3 billion gross value added to the UK economy and more than 90,000 employment opportunities, a spokesperson said. That would make a very welcome change compared to all the people who lost their jobs recently at Manchester United. Part of the feasibility study included a survey of more than 50,000 Manchester United season ticket holders, which found more than half favoured a new stadium. Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham said he planned to set up a new body to help drive forward the project before the stadium decision is made. A Mayoral Development Corporation, MDC, is a statutory body that has powers including compulsory purchase. Mr. Burnham told BBC Radio Manchester that this would ensure in space around Old Trafford could be cleared to maximise the club's options. It's all about removing the freight terminals and the freight that comes through the Manchester city centre right behind Old Trafford. It's not going to just be United supporters. Every rail passenger in the northwest will benefit from removal of that freight from our city centre. Trafford Councillor Liz Patel said the wider regeneration of the area was a long-term plan that will take years to bear fruit. The council's plan to redevelop the area includes a target of building 5,000 new homes. Lord knows we need those right now in the UK. If Manchester United stay at Old Trafford, the canoe capacity will be 87,000, more than the current 76,000, but significantly less than the proposed 100,000 capacity new build stadium. Whatever the club decides, it will be very expensive. Doing nothing is not viewed as viable though. Redevelopment may include partial stadium closures, and unlike Tottenham, who had Wembley as an option, there is no obvious relocation option if they get to a point where games and building work cannot take place simultaneously. The more expensive new stadium option would be a cleaner way forward, and games couldn't be played in the current stadium until the new one is ready, which would be a great few years away. We will definitely know the answer by the middle of 2025, but there is possibility that Sir Jim Ratcliffe will make his mind up before then. Personally, for me, I am on the fence really when it comes to whether they should rebuild the stadium, currently renovate the current Old Trafford, or go with a new one. Now, the guy that does the articles for Football Chronicle and is also my partner here on the Football Chronicle, the whole Chronicle group, Jared, he is a diehard Manchester United fan, and he said absolutely unequivocally that he personally wants them to stay at Old Trafford but renovate it because there's so much history there. You've got the Munich clock, you've got the Holy Trinity statue of Law Best in Charlton, RIP Dennis Law. Obviously, he passed away earlier this week, or as you're viewing this, probably last week by this point. Yeah, I mean, I totally understand that, and I get it, you know, as someone who also supports a club that has a very old and historical stadium, you know, Sheffield United with Bramall Lane, the oldest professional football stadium in the world. I think it was built 1850 something or other. You know, it was built before professional football was codified in the city of Sheffield back in the day. You know, I would totally understand it from a financial point of view if one day we become too big for that stadium. I mean, it's a pipe dream at the moment. I don't really see that happening anytime soon, but I would be absolutely devastated if we moved from Bramall Lane because there's so much history there. It's where I went to my first game. It's where I hope to take my son for his first Sheffield United game as well. You know, there's a lot there. And it's on an even grander scale for Manchester United and Old Trafford because, you know, they are genuinely, you know, arguably the most successful club in English football history. You know, without a doubt up there with Liverpool. Obviously, it depends how you measure the trophies and the history and everything like that. But, you know, without a doubt, one of the two for me. I don't think anybody will dispute that. So I totally understand it from a sentimental point of view. But as we know, with businessmen, Sir Jim Ratcliffe included, they make the tough and difficult choices, the unpopular decisions, as it were. He's made no bones about the fact that he will do that, and he has done that already. He's kept his word. You can't accuse him of not doing that. Whether you agree with his way he's gone about things or not, that's a different discussion. But he has kept his word in terms of how he goes about these things. So for me, I think I get it from a fan's point of view that they want to keep the old stadium and they want to renovate it because, you know, we've seen what the Camp Nou has become. We've seen what Real Madrid with their Santiago Bernabeu has become. You know, criticize it all you want. You know, to some people it looks like an air fryer from the outside, but from a practicality point of view, it is an incredible stadium. There's only really Tottenham Hotspur Stadium currently that I would say that's on a par with it in terms of what it can do. And there's no reason why they can't do that with Old Trafford, but it's also the money point of view as well. It's the point of view. It's the revenue point of view. If you're having to shut 1-2 stands for a season, you're losing out on, 40,000 tickets per game. And even if you raise the tickets to the remaining seats that are available, you're still making a loss. You're still making a loss compared to where you would be normally. So yeah, I mean, I think from a business point of view, it would make sense for them to go to a new stadium. And there was recently an architect that was interviewed by BBC Sport, I believe, a guy that came over from America. I think he's designed some of the biggest stadia in the United States for NFL. I think is it the MetLife Stadium in Los Angeles? I think it is in LA. Anyway, a really, really impressive stadium. He was just over there in Manchester. I don't think he was doing some sightseeing, to be honest. I think he was probably there to survey potential plans for a new stadium. He might have been there to survey potential plans for a redevelopment, but I personally think that Manchester United will opt for a new stadium. I do. I think they'll do that. And whether that's the right thing to do or not, I don't know. I would say personally from a sentimental point of view, no. But I would say from a business point of view, yeah, probably is. Look how well Tottenham are doing financially. I know on the pitch it's not working out for them, same with Manchester United right now. But from a business point of view, they're very successful right now. And as soulless as it might be to say it, Old Trafford's just old, man. Unfortunately, and it's been neglected for so long. I've been there. I went there about 10 years ago. I've walked past it a lot since then, and it's not changed a bit. So it definitely needs some work doing to it. And it's got to the point now where it's like you're kind of having to chop the limb off to save the rest of the body. to use a pretty crude analogy, but I think you know what I'm talking about there. So for me, I personally think they will go for a new stadium, because you think about how much money that's going to generate in terms of the corporate facilities, the general just stadium. I mean, 100,000 people. Radcliffe has talked about this being a Wembley of the North. This stadium will become a hub not only for Manchester United, but also for the England national team, for international tournaments that are hosted in England. It will also be somewhere where potentially NFL could come. Rugby games could be hosted there. Concerts, all that stuff. They could generate a huge amount of revenue. Whereas right now, as far as I'm aware, it could do Champions League finals as well. Euros finals. Old Trafford can't do that currently. It's not on the top star. I think it's like 5-star UEFA rating or whatever it is. It's not on that. Old Trafford is not a part of the Euro 2028 bid because it's just not up to scratch. Unfortunately, from a facilities point of view, it is the second best stadium in Manchester behind the Etihad Stadium, and that should rightfully rile up every single Manchester United fan. That is a humiliation if I've ever seen one. Forget about the results on the pitch. The Etihad Stadium is light years ahead of Old Trafford. That shouldn't be a thing. They should be at least on par, but they're not. But anyway, I've rambled on for a while. I've got a few thoughts about it. I mean, from a sentimental point of view, I think they should stay, but I don't think it will. And I think from a business point of view, to succeed in the long term, they're going to need that new stadium. But it's not going to be around for a long time anyway. It's not something that's immediately going to happen. But yeah, guys, I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. A new Old Trafford or a revamped Old Trafford? Or a Trafford, I don't know how you look at it. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, keep it subscribed to the Football Chronicle to see much more video content on the world of football, just like this. Have a good one, guys. See you soon.